Hey guys, David here today with another episode. Today we're going to be covering the Scion TC again, everybody's favorite car. I mean, this thing is better than the FRS, better than the new FRS, which isn't even out yet. I personally think that it's probably better than an F40. I've never driven an F40, but I'm just going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and say that it's better than the F40. Challenge me to it. Because I'm sure most of you haven't driven an F40 either, but at least some of you have driven a Scion TC. So we're going to leave it there at that. Anyways, today I did want to cover something a little bit more related to the sportiness of an F40, and that is the throttle response of the TC. So this is something that I have found to be one of my more major complaints with this car. I don't have a ton of complaints with this car, but one of them is that the throttle response is a bit more tuned on the side of fuel economy than it is responsiveness and fun engagement to drive. I can still heel toe this thing and rev match it just fine, but there is a bit of a delay there that the manufacturer includes for some of the more economy-based tuning, if you will, where they dole out the throttle response and make those inputs a bit more laggy in efforts to keep the engine RPMs lower, I guess, and just keep you from stabbing that throttle and burning fuel. So anyways, I have something that hopefully, I'm going to say hopefully very emphatically here, because hopefully this fits the Scion TC. This is something that I found when I was at Summit Racing looking for a tool for the iSpare, and I'm hoping that it fits the Scion. Now, this is something that I found in Summit's open box area, where they normally keep either items that were returned or items that were a demo unit. So this thing actually happens to be just part of a demo unit that they had, and we're selling at about a third of the price. Now, like I said, I've been wanting to do this throttle tuning for quite a while, since I first got the car about 5 years ago, but it's always been a bit more than I was willing to pay for something that didn't bother me an insane amount. But when I found this throttle tuner for about 115 bucks, I thought that it was worth a gamble. Now, I say gamble because it definitely is a gamble. This was something that was specific to off-road vehicles, and this one in particular, I'm not positive it's going to fit the TC because it's designed to fit things like the Tundra and the Lexus GX, the Sequoia, all those bigger off-road Toyota trucks and SUVs. So while I did take a bit of a gamble with this working with the Scion, it will most definitely work with my Tundra. It's verified that it will work with that. So if nothing else, this might just turn into a Tundra episode. So let's stay tuned and see if this does actually fit the Scion, because I did manage to find a website that said that it does fit the Scion TC as well too, from the 2011 to 2016 models. But we are going to find out in this episode. And if this doesn't work for the TC, then you already know what this episode is going to be about. So as you can see here, guys, this is a React throttle optimizer. Now, like I said, this was supposed to be for off-road variants. It was the only demo unit they had available, so I ended up with one of these off-road style ones. So worst comes to worst, we just put it on the Tundra. But you can see some of the, let me go ahead and open this up first, actually. Oh yeah, you can see there's controls for mud, sand, street, economy, crawl, and stock. So it will be fun to put the TC in the mud and sand and see how it does with that setting. Maybe we'll do Moab 2021 with the TC. So you can see this is the unit, and just kind of give some information there on the back about what the product does. Initial impressions with this knob, it's really nice. It's I thought it was going to be plastic, but it is like a milled aluminum or steel. Feels really nice. Just a billet piece here from what I can tell. Then you have the actual unit itself here, which is it's a bit lighter feeling. It doesn't feel as tactile as the other knob there does, but I'm sure it will work just fine. It's just a little control unit with different sensitivity. So there's that, and then there is the actual harness that will plug directly into our unit, and the other end will plug into the stock Toyota throttle sensor. And here is the USB provided. So I'm curious to see how this wires in, because there is a USB micro here, and this does have a USB micro input. So we're obviously going to have to plug this into the unit itself, but we will see where this USB actually is to be plugged in at. And it looks like there is our answer. There is an interceptor box here where the signal is intercepted and is changed via this throttle tuner. So this should just plug in here. Why am I having all the USB troubles in the world? There we go. So that should plug in there like that. We will find out. And then this is going to plug in here. We're going to plug this harness here for the vehicle side. You're going to plug that into that interceptor box. And then this comes with some zip ties and some 3M double-sided adhesive and one of these little Velcro tabs here. So, alright guys, let's get out there. Okay guys, I'm out here in the car now. So, what we need to do is we need to come under here and we need to unplug our throttle sensor there and run our interceptor box there. So I'm gonna go ahead and set up the camera and try and capture this. Well, yeah, that's what we're gonna do now. Before I do all that though, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect the negative terminal on the battery here. So let's start with that. That's gonna be a safe bet. Easy, easy. Okay guys, well I had to do that off camera because I would just be blocking the camera entirely, but I had to get down there and use both hands to pry off that connector there. Pretty simple though, it's just that one connector that we pry off, and it looks like we may be in luck here guys. This connector is exactly the same as the Scion TC harness there, or the piggy, oh what's the word here, as the pigtail there. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug in this new adapter there, and then hopefully we will get this thing to work. So I'm just wondering how this plugs into the car now. Huh. Anyways, I'll take a look at it and we'll find out. Okay, well, we are in luck actually. Yeah, that plugged into the throttle pedal here, and then the other end actually plugged into the factory connector there. It didn't look like it was going to connect. I don't know why, the plug types just looked way different, but it ended up plugging in just fine. So this end will go into that interceptor box there, which will plug into our remote, control unit that allows us to change the sensitivity in the different modes that it has. So we're going to go ahead and plug that up. So we'll just take our interceptor box here. Move this out of the way. We'll just take this interceptor box here, plug this in. There's a little provision for the harness clip to clip into. And then from there, we'll take our standard USB in, plug it in. And then we take the USB micro end here, and this will plug into the unit, just like this. Okay. And now with that, it tells you that you need to go ahead and reconnect the battery, and then we will see if this thing actually works. Okay, so we have power in the car again here. Let me grab my keys. Okay, great. Well, it says that it should be ready to use, so let's go ahead and start it up and see if this works okay. Okay, and then neutral here. And let's get our unit. Okay, we do have power, so that's a good sign. We just tested the throttle. I haven't touched anything yet, but let's see what it does. Sorry, got stuff in the way here. Okay. Seems to work as normal. But it does seem like there's a little less throttle delay. I don't know, it's really hard to tell. We're gonna have to find a way to do this not subjectively, because I don't want to just say that it feels better. You know, put the cold air intake on, gain 20 horses. Yeah, baby. So, but yeah, I mean, I would call this, the fact that it works already, the fact that it works at all is a win. So we'll get into playing with this, but yeah, I would definitely call that a win so far.
All right, guys, now that I've figured out that this throttle tuner actually works with the TC, I'm gonna go ahead and install it. So I'm gonna pull out some of these plastics and try to find the best routing and mounting method for this thing. I'm not sure what that's gonna look like. Obviously this isn't for this car, so I don't know typically where it would be mounted at. They have a vent mounted dash adapter. It's a clip with a magnet on it, but it ends up blocking the dash, and I just don't think it looks very good, and it, you know, blocks the AC vents as well, and that's really important here in Texas, so I don't think I'm gonna go that route, but I have an idea of where I'm gonna put it, so let's get into that right now.
Okay guys, I have planned my attack here for installing this thing. So what I'm gonna do is, here is the actual throttle adapter box that intercepts the signal. So this is gonna be mounted in here, nice and hidden, below in here with the electronics out of place, and then, or out of sight, sorry. And then I'm gonna go ahead and probably zip tie to this mount here. There's nothing that actually goes here, so I'm gonna zip tie to that mount, and this mount up here, there's another tab too, and make this very nice and tidy out of the way. There's even a little almost like a provision for a harness to pass through that would hold it in place there. So that's gonna go there, and then from there that box will connect with a USB cable through here, and I think really the only way to pass it through up here is going to be to drill a small hole for the USB to come through, since the tolerances between these two plastics here, this shifter trim with the electronics here for the USB and then the traction control, I think that's really going to be the only way to get that here, but I'll do it to where it's out of sight and you don't see it unless you're looking for it. So we're going to go ahead and make this work now. Okay, well, that wasn't so painful. I don't like drilling holes in the car, obviously, but you can see I just made a little hole for it to pass through here. Still got to file it down so it'll look even a little bit better. But I just drilled a hole there and then cut the lower kind of shelf where the plastics meet up. Just that way it's got enough clearance and isn't, you know, chafing on anything really, and it's not gonna splice that wire. So that is good, and it's got plenty of flexibility, and I can move the wire easily if I want to, you know, kind of move it around in the car. So I'm gonna call that a success there, and let's finish putting this thing in. So I'm going to tighten up the cabling here, just that way, you know, we don't have a insane amount of excess. I am going to leave some in case I want to move it around the car, but I don't want to have to, you know, have all this wire just dangling inside the plastics. So let's see, maybe a little bit more just in case I want to move it. Yeah, that looks about good though. So cable tie this thing. Package it up a little bit tightly here. Okay. Snip the old tip and pass this through to our controller box. Okay, there's our USB in. Plug this fine lad into this fine lass. It's probably the weirdest way I could have said that, but you know, it's me. Okay, going to tuck this back in here. And then we are going to cable tie this harness connector right here to this presumably HVAC control unit here. And then to this top guy. It's really important that we don't have any kind of harness dangling near the pedals. You know, we don't want to either snag the pedals and get them stuck, or we don't want to rip the cables or the harness or anything and cause any kind of damage. So just make sure and get this guy out of the way, and then we'll throw our plastic back over that, and it's gonna look like we never even touched anything. Just like O.J. Simpson's If I Did It, Here's How I Would Do It. But I didn't do it. Okay. Give him the old Bob Barker special.
Bob Barker reminding you, help control the pet population. Have your pet spayed or neutered.
Boom. There we go. Now make sure this is situated back in place here. There we go. Now, just gotta slip this back in there and snap these two back into place. There we have it. all nice and tidy. If you had no idea, you would really just think it's OEM in there. I'm gonna plug up that control box. There we go. Okay. Now I'll probably just want to maybe get some double-sided tape and then kind of secure that thing down. But you can see, you know, laying down there, so I have good access to it. It's kind of right in the cockpit, if you will. I suppose we could even double-sided tape it like that. I don't know. I'm gonna play around with it and see what I want to do here. Alright guys, I have decided how I'm going to go ahead and finally mount this up down here. The actual kit came with supplied Velcro double-sided adhesive strips. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach one right here to the bottom of the kind of HVAC control deck. And I'm going to just go ahead and stick this vertically to it. You won't see any of this Velcro or anything, and it's going to hold this unit vertically in place there, and it's just going to look pretty clean and minimal. So I think that is the route I'm going to go ahead and go with, and I can always kind of adjust it or move it around as I please. Okay guys, well there we have it. I think it looks ultra clean where it is, and it's easily accessible right here, just kind of on this control deck area for all the you know, traction control things and HVAC, all that. So I can easily just reach down here and adjust it on the fly. Sorry, getting a lot of solar flare there, but I am ultra happy with how that looks and has turned out, and I'm very pleased with that job. So with that, we're going to go ahead and kind of get into the dynamics of using this thing and how it affects the car. Okay guys, I've set up a little demonstration on how this thing is actually affecting the throttle. So it's nothing it's nothing real scientific. It's just a quick example of, you know, how this throttle tuning is changed depending on which mode and which settings of adjustment that you use on this. So what I've done is I have a camera on a tripod here with a tight shot onto the throttle with a caliper. There's some of the measurements there of how much I'm adjusting the throttle, and how, you know, how much I've depressed the throttle, and the sensitivity of the RPMs. I'll be showing the RPMs on this GoPro while that is recording down there, and we will see how much the RPM changes based on just the adjustment of the settings here on the throttle controller, and the consistency should remain with the pedal placement. Hopefully we'll try and be using the pedal about the same amount each time, and the camera will kind of gauge that a little bit. So hopefully that explains what I'm going to do here. Hopefully I'm not blocking the shot entirely. I'm going to big toe this thing. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this in the, I believe this is just the street application. I don't know why there's not a LED to indicate that, but I'm going to go ahead and put it in what I think is street, or maybe this is a custom one. But I'm going to turn the sensitivity all the way up here on this dial, and we're going to go ahead and give it a blip of the throttle and see where our RPMs go to. So just a little blip here gets us to, you know, about 1800, 1750 RPMs, just with a quick stab of the throttle. So we'll let it fall again, just quick stab, about 2000 RPMs. So now let us come back and adjust this dial. I'm going to turn it all the way down now to its lowest setting here. So we can see that's in the lowest setting. Nothing else has changed here. And I'm going to go ahead and give it that quick, about the same stab of the throttle. You can see now that was a little bit more, but quick stab. It's really dulled out. It's hard to maintain consistency, but it's around 1 to 1.5. But point being is it's not going near as high as it was when I let it fall and then rest. So let's try that again. Let me let it fall and then try and keep this consistent here. Yeah, about 1 to 1300 RPM, somewhere in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's try out a different mode here. Let's do economy and then turn that all the way down. Let's try that. So quick step. Wow, you can see the economy throttle tuning does a huge difference. It is super volatile. I mean, I am stabbing this thing and it is barely climbing at all. I mean, like less than 1,000 RPMs. So you can tell how much that throttle just is tuned down by the economy. So let us switch back to let's do mud and sand, because this thing's an off-road beast. Let's try that with the sensitivity all the way up. Let's see what happens. Yeah, you can tell just the difference between economy and mud and rock crawling. It's almost 2,000 RPMs. So hopefully that gives a little bit of a kind of insight. Not exactly scientific, not fantastic, but provides like a rough example to go on.